So this is part 4. This video I'm going to talk about my encounters and experiences with evil, which kind of set me up on this journey to figure out what's going on and, of course, find out what my abilities are and get rid of these influences as much as I can. So I'll just start off with, I know well, over the years, I've had several encounters with evil spirits. The first notable one I had, I was at grad school at Auburn, War Eagle. I was in my bed in the dorm, and I don't know what, it was around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Just laying in bed, was sleeping, and then I had this vivid dream. So I am in the dream. Friends of mine would know I collect insulators, telephone, telegraph, power lines. In this dream, I have one of my insulators, and it's broken with a wire around it, which in real life it was not. But I'm in this field, I'm holding my insulator, and I'm walking across this field. And I'm like, why is my insulator broken? I'm all distraught. And across the field is the stereotypical gypsy fortune teller's tent, silk tent with the red and white stripes. And I walk over to the tent, walk inside, and there's the gypsy fortune teller behind the table with the crystal ball. And I just look at her and I say, why is my insulator broken? Why is it broken? And I put it down on the table. And immediately she closes her eyes and starts putting her hands on the insulator, and it's just like, I see Dinah, 28 times, Dinah, yeah, Dinah 28 times. And then I woke up, I'm in bed, and you know the feeling when something's staring at you. Multiply that by 1,000, 10,000, foot of my bed, blacker than black. When they say something is blacker than black, they mean it. Blacker than black, this big black mass at the foot of my bed, and it's just radiating evil. So I don't know if it was a demon, Satan, dark spirit, I don't know what it was. Foot of the bed, and I am frozen in fear. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I flip over, I'm still able to move. I flip over, I start reciting every prayer I can remember from the Bible. Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Our Father who art in heaven, everything I can possibly remember, I just start saying it. I think I was saying it in my head. And about 3, 4, 5 minutes it took before I felt that disappear. Turn around and it's gone. So I said that was freaky. So my mother was in Florida at this point. Her sister, my aunt and uncle were both in Florida, and my cousins were in Florida. And I called my mother that Friday, and I said, I had the weirdest nightmare, scariest encounter I've ever had, very early Wednesday morning, about 3 a.m. And I described the dream to her, and I knew my cousin in Florida was going through a rather nasty divorce. I don't want to name names, but he was going through a very tumultuous, rocky marriage, and they were about to divorce. So I tell my mother, and I said, well, I said the name Dinah 28 times. And she said, well, you know, that's your cousin's wife's name. But she didn't go by that name. She went through a nickname that we all called her. Said, oh, I didn't know that was her real name. So she goes, well, let me call Dot, her sister. And she calls her sister and tells her what happened. And her sister tells her, oh, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Well, that evening, Tuesday evening, apparently my cousin and his estranged wife had the fight of all fights, and he actually got out of town, drove up to where his parents were, my aunt and uncle, and he told them what happened. And so, since my aunt and uncle both had abilities, they decided to meditate on it, and um, they start praying, saying whatever meditations and so forth, and trying to pray for his wife. Well, when they started doing that, apparently the candle blew out, like flamed out and blew out, and things started flying around, I guess, and they put a stop, they shut it down right then and there. It turns out, we found out shortly thereafterwards, that the estranged wife, soon to be ex, was playing with black magic and witchcraft, and apparently had tried to put a spell or a curse on the family. So I believe that was the result. Evil came to me, evil came to my mother. She had a similar nightmare that same morning about the same person, and then that experience had happened the night several hours before. So that was the first time I was exposed to that. Fast forward a couple years, I was in New Jersey, and early morning, the sun's just starting to come up, and I woke up in bed, and at the foot of the bed, there's that black mass again. I'm like, okay, what the heck is going on? It's back, and again, every prayer I can think of. I think I had my Bible on my nightstand or close by. Open that up and start reading, and again, about 2 to 3 minutes, it sat there and then disappeared. I'm like, okay, that was freaky and very disturbing. Then fast forward another 2 years, I was living in Iowa, and I like to drive from where I lived upriver to an old historic town, and there's a very curvy road that follows the river, which is a rarity for the Midwest. Most roads are straight, grid pattern. I'm driving up along this curvy road, come up to a sharp curve, and I see a police car, section of fence knocked down, tall grass, 2 tire marks up into the grass, up over the hill, and there's a cross there with flowers on it already. So I said, oh gosh, someone lost control and killed themselves. For whatever reason, I got the impression it was an 18-year-old male. Anyway, go up there, I have lunch, I get home that night, and I do what I normally do, pray for that poor soul that they cross over. Well, as soon as I start praying for that soul, bam, there's the black mass again at the foot of the bed. I'm like, all right, I don't know what this kid did, but sorry, he's on his own. And I shut it down, again, every prayer I could think of, praying away, and then it finally disappeared after a couple minutes. So that was the 3rd time. Fortunately, that has been the last time and will not happen again. I've since tried to figure out what's going on. So anyway, those are my 3 encounters with pure evil. So when they say don't mess with the Ouija board, don't mess with black magic or spells or witchcraft, they mean it. The dark arts, don't play around with them, because it impacts other people's lives for real, and certainly impacted my life and my mother's life, at least during that short time. So that's the moral of the story. Don't play around with the dark arts. That's not the only time I've seen things, though. Shortly after I moved here to Chicagoland, went to a medium, of course, get a reading, and one of the first things he told me was, there's a shadow figure in your neighborhood. Like, okay. So I said, all right. Didn't think much of it at the time. I hadn't sensed anything, but after that, I started noticing things like I'd come home at night, go to pull into the garage, and I'd see a black figure walking down the sidewalk. And I assume, okay, someone's out walking their dog, can't see, the street's not lit up too well. Get out of the car, get over there, and of course, no one's there. The culmination of this experience. One night, I'm in bed, couldn't sleep. It's a pretty active week, I believe. And I woke up at midnight. I woke up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then 3 a.m. I said, okay, enough of this crap. I don't know what's going on. So I got up, got my sage, got my ting-sha chimes, got my prayers, and got out of bed, turned on all the lights, and I start saying these prayers, and I start screaming, which must have been great for the neighbors. Get out of here. You're not wanted here. No one's invited you in. I am not inviting you in. You need to leave now. You need to stop bothering me in the name of Jesus Christ, St. Michael the Archangel. I'm not Catholic, but I'm calling out all those Catholic prayers. And I sat there and I sage, and then I hit the ting-sha. Ting-sha are a Tibetan chime. They're two flat. They kind of look like cymbals, but they're thicker. They're on a cord, and they're paired. There's two of them. And you smash them together, ting them together. It makes a very high-pitched vibration. Beings, souls, anything from the light, from heaven, vibrates at a very high frequency. I've heard it called the frequency of life. And the ting-sha attempts to raise the energy level in the space. Dark energy, evil energy, is very low energy. So like when you hear rumbles and growls and things like that, you just feel like that bass, like someone's playing a very loud bass speaker. You feel that kind of vibration. That's more what evil feels like. So the ting-sha is trying to raise that vibration level up, and the evil is supposed to flee or leave the space. So I started ting-sha'ing the chimes over the bed, and pretty quickly, within I think 5 or 10 seconds, I see this black orb come up out of the bed and then flew out the window behind my headboard. Flew right out the window. I'm like, okay, I hope I got rid of that. So I saged some more, got back to sleep, and I slept like a baby for the rest of the night. But a lot of the shows I watch, people who know me know I like the Dead Files, the Holzer Files, shows where there's actually a medium trying to help cross the spirits over. So I pick up tidbits, little bits and pieces from there. So I put salt across my window. I moved my bed away from the window to the adjacent wall, got away from the window, put the salt down, put my crystals across that, sage that, and haven't had it since. Other encounters I've had, I've actually seen it's a dark shadow. Not all dark shadows are shadow people or evil entities. Some spirits just present as a dark figure for whatever reason. One of the more prominent experiences I had that I can recall right now is staying in a hotel up in Minnesota. My company is based in Minnesota, so I'm up there a couple times a year, staying in a hotel that I loved, and top floor. I go out middle of the night to get some air, and I look down the hallway to where the exit door is for the stairs, take the stairs down instead of waiting for the elevator. And as soon as I get to the other end of the hallway, outside my door, I see this black shadow, perfect human form, come through the door, the exit door, and then turn around and go into the room immediately next to the exit door. So I'm like, well, that ain't going to stop me. I've seen enough stuff in my life. I walked down the hall, and of course it didn't reappear. I stopped in front of that door. I said, I hope no one is staying in that room tonight. But I said, you need to go to the light. Do not come out. Do not manifest. Do not bother me. Nothing. You need to go to the light. Stop haunting this hotel. Did that do anything? I have no idea. But I didn't see it again in my subsequent visits. So, but these things do happen. So those are my experiences with pure evil. Now that I'm in connection with my guides and my angels and the light around me, which I'm going to talk about in the next video, my encounters with the light, I feel I'm very thoroughly protected. So I always pray that that remains true. But that's why you don't mess with evil.